stop doing this and improve your self-worth. I've been a clinical psychologist for 8 years and owned my own practice for 5. In this video, I want to let you in on a strategy on how to improve low self-worth. It's one of the earliest hacks I remember using, and I would say probably the most powerful one to start out with. I call it stay seated. In true psychologist fashion, I first want to explain you a bit on what it works on, and in the end of the video, I'll tell you how to use it. So, what's most common in low self-worth is that we have pleaser behavior. This can both be that we do a lot for others, or that we think a lot about how to accommodate others. Where being empathic and taking other people's needs into account is a good thing, doing too much of it or doing it all the time is not leading you to have a happy life, or will likely heighten your chances of a low self-worth. As I've already spoken about how low self-worth can come to exist in my earlier videos, I want to here just talk about what you can do when you have a low self-worth, because it is possible to turn it around. Even if you, for one reason or another, have ended up with a low self-worth, it is possible to change it back. So, how to? This can be done with looking at automatic behaviors. For example, pleaser behavior, which is common in low self-worth. Pleaser behavior can consist of that you're constantly aware of other people's needs and wants, that you in a social situation or when you're alone, you're hyper alert to accommodating others. This can lead you to feeling deprived of energy and often quite stressed. If we want to start changing our low self-worth, looking into this behavior is useful. We can start with noticing what's at play. We can start registering when we're offering services to others, when we're planning things for others, or doing things for others. This strategy is not about you starting to tell others no, or practicing asking favors, or actively setting boundaries. Although these are very good skills to have, I sometimes find that these are not the first skills that we should work on in therapy. This is not because that I don't find them important, but more because I often find that it's too difficult to start with at first when our self-worth is low, and that it can lead a client into feeling that it's sort of unachievable or has too big consequences for them in their life to start with. So instead, I often advise to start with my strategy, stay seated. What it contains is that you start with looking at your pleaser behavior. You make yourself familiar with the situations that it's present in. It can be that you always get up first and ask others what they want. It can be that you get a lot of thoughts about others or what you should do for others when you're on your own. Or it can be the classic situation of you offering to pay the second the waiter is heading towards your table. When you have noticed these pleaser behaviors of yours, you can start on planning how to reduce them. If you change your automatic behaviors, this will have an effect on your thoughts and self-beliefs. If you do not change anything, you will not see an effect. That makes sense, of course. So the key to modifying your self-worth is that you start changing your pleaser behaviors. This always wakes the expression of fear in my clients when I suggest it. The fear that they have to start asking their friends to get up before them, or that they have to say no, or that it will anger the ones around them. They fear that they will lose everybody around them. This is where I explain to them what I'll explain to you now. The strategy of stay seated is not so much about what you do. It's more about what you don't do. You will work on doing less of what you're already doing. You don't have to start with angering anyone or saying no or being rude. It is likely that the people around you do not notice even half of the things that you are doing already to please them. When we start working on this, it's important to start working small. This so that you feel that you can endure the process. What we'll work on is your tendency to self-sacrifice. We'll try to limit you from constantly thinking about other people's needs. And slowly by slowly, you'll feel more comfortable by not always jumping up to serve others. I sometimes call it our invisible strategy, because oftentimes others won't notice that we're working on reducing our pleaser behavior. So, how to do this in reality? How to start small but efficient. Say that you have noticed that every time you have a moment to relax, that you start thinking about if you should call someone up and hear how they are, or offer them your company. The next time this situation occurs, try to stop yourself. Try to tell yourself, stay seated. Let yourself know that you can do all of that, but not right now. Right now, you won't give in to your automatic behavior, but instead, you'll be passive. Don't pick up the phone and call them. And stop sitting there planning what you can do for someone. It will likely be difficult at first. It will feel unfamiliar. If we're used to doing something, then not doing it will feel strange. You can let yourself know that, Of course, it feels weird when you're using a new strategy, but that you'll try it anyhow because you would like to improve your self-worth. Some will find it easier than others. For some, it's enough to just remind themselves to stay seated, but others find it helpful to also try and distract themselves a bit while they're doing it. If they feel uncomfortable while staying seated, that is, not doing what they normally do, it can be helpful to use some distractions. So instead of discussing with yourself or dwelling in your mind, you can look at the things around you, listen to some music, think about something else that interests you, or read some news on your phone. Good. You can do the same in situations where you're with others. When you feel the urge to jump up and offer to, let's say, get coffees for people, then try to stay seated instead. Remind yourself of the strategy that you're practicing, that you are trying right now to reduce automatic behavior, that you are trying to do less of what you normally do. This is not about saying no to requests. This is about dealing with your inner boss, you. It's okay if you do it in small steps, and give yourself time to notice what actually happens as a consequence. My guess is that you might find, like many of my clients, that people around you don't actually notice. Generally, people will notice what you do, but not so much what you don't do. Your friends might notice after a while, when you've been practicing this, they'll notice that you seem more relaxed and with better self-worth, but that's different, of course. I'll sometimes get the question if this means that they should never do anything again for others, that they can never call their friends again or do favors. And of course, that's not what I mean or intend with this. The difference between automatic pleasing behaviors and deciding to do something nice for others lies in the background of why you do it. With automatic pleasing behavior, I often see that it comes from that we feel that we have to, that we have no choice. If that we don't do it, it will be bad. This is what we intend to minimize or reduce. Instead, deciding to do something nice and phrasing it to ourselves like that we're giving a gift, is different. Here we're conscious and active, and we'll likely feel good about ourselves after the act, such as, look at me and how nice I was. This is not often what I see as a result of automatic pleasing behavior. When we do something because we feel that we must, then we rarely feel good or rewarded after. It's more like, phew, dodge that. Hopefully they don't hate me. This is the difference. Reduce one first and obtain the other. So, work on reducing automatic pleasing behavior first. Break your low self-worth patterns, slowly by slowly. And then after, you can reap the benefits of doing nice things on purpose, with it leading to a spike in self-worth. I think this is all we had time for. What was your takeaway from today's video? As always, feel free to take away the information you can use, if any, and leave the rest. Hopefully you found that today's topic made sense. Please like or subscribe so my channel can grow. Take care and see you for the next one.